Welcome back to another lesson from Miss Adoma's Science Classroom. The aim for this lesson is, what is Newton's first law of motion? Before we go any further, let's go over the learning goals for this lesson. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to differentiate between balanced and unbalanced net forces, describe Newton's first law of motion, and apply Newton's first law of motion to everyday scenarios. Before we get into Newton's laws of motions, let's talk about force. A force is a push or pull that happens between two objects. Friction is the force that causes the toy car to slow down when it rolls along the carpet. Gravity is the force that pulls the ball to the ground when I release it. Magnetism is the force that pulls the snail to the magnet. This is a spring scale. A spring scale measures the amount of force using a unit called newtons. Net force is the combination of all forces acting on an object. When two forces act in the same direction, they add together to form the net force, and the object moves in the same direction. When two forces act in opposite directions, the difference is the net force, and the object moves in the direction of the greater force. When my two assistants begin pulling on the rope in the same direction, the rope also moves in that direction. However, when they pull in different directions, the rope moves in the direction of the larger force. We say forces are balanced when two or more forces cancel each other and does not change the object's motion. When forces are unbalanced, two or more forces do not cancel each other and changes the object's motion. Going back to the previous example, the rope is not going to move if the forces of my two assistants cancel each other out. But when they began pulling, the forces became unbalanced.
Sir Isaac Newton was an English mathematician, physicist and astronomer who is usually remembered as the guy who was hit in the head by an apple when sitting under a tree. Ouch, that hurts. This moment was believed to inspire Newton's laws of motion to explain the motion of objects.
Newton's first law of motion states that when the net force acting on an object is zero, an object at rest will stay at rest. An object that is moving will continue to move in a straight line. According to Newton's first law of motion, this ball will remain at rest as long as the net forces acting on this ball is equal to zero. Newton's first law of motion also tells us that this ball will continue to move in a straight line as long as the net forces acting on this ball is equal to zero. Newton's first law of motion also talks about a concept called inertia. Inertia is how hard it is for an object to continue in a straight line or remain at rest. The greater the mass of an object, the more inertia that object will have. The smaller the mass of an object, the less inertia that object will have.
Now, let's talk about inertia. I have two volunteers to help us understand more about inertia. Say hello to Binti and Dog.
Hello.
Binti has more mass than Dog and therefore he has more inertia than Dog. If we were to push Binti and Dog the same way, it will be harder to get Binti to move because he has more inertia. It was great meeting you all. I hope you understand a little more about Newton's laws of motion. Now it is back to you, Mrs. Abomas.
So I'm going to try that famous trick with the tablecloth and the plate. Just kidding. I'm going to use a textbook instead. So I have my tablecloth book instead because I'm a little scared. So here's my tablecloth. I'm going to yank it and try not to drop the book on my foot. Here we go. Ta-da! So let's talk about what happened. So this book remained at rest until a force acted upon it. The ability of this book to stay at rest is based on the book's inertia. So when I yank the tablecloth, friction acted in the direction of the pull for a short period of time, and I was able to sneak the tablecloth out, and ta-da! There you go. Alright, you know what time it is. Write at least 5 questions for this lesson on the left side of your notes. And then at the bottom, write a summary of at least 2 to 3 sentences summarizing this lesson. Try to answer the aim and the summary. What is Newton's first law of motion? I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.